Did you know that the Philippines just scored a big win over China? China's bold claims over the West Philippine Sea are starting to collapse. Once again, a recent protest from China has been shot down, affirming that their sweeping claims in the South China Sea, known as the West Philippine Sea to the Filipinos, hold no ground. This contested area has become a fierce battleground in the geopolitical game, drawing global attention. Naval patrols cruise through these waters regularly, a constant reminder of the fragile tension that could spark at any moment. China's aggressive actions have met with pushback, especially from the determined Philippines, which has stood firm to defend its waters. Filipinos aren't just watching from the sidelines. They've taken action through naval drills and public protests, making it clear they view this as a defense of their homeland. Welcome to Asia Chronicles, where we keep you updated on everything happening in the Philippines and across Asia. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more exciting updates and insights. Since the landmark ruling in 2016, international courts have continued to side against China's claims. Recently, China tried once more to rally support at the UN, but the Philippines and other nations stood their ground. This issue has even brought world leaders together, all calling for respect for international law. Yet China remains defiant, refusing to back down. This persistent attitude from China has left the world watching with raised eyebrows. While global leaders have urged restraint, China's military footprint in the South China Sea only seems to grow. Despite international rulings and mounting criticism, China pushes forward, undeterred, sparking a rising tension felt well beyond these waters. As the world looks on, China is boldly testing its limits, sending a powerful signal to all nations, especially those at odds with it. China will do as it pleases, and no one can stand in its way. Chinese social media is flooded with propaganda posters that paint China as the rightful sovereign of the South China Sea, a move that blatantly flouts international law and heightens tensions in this already volatile region, making it a potential flashpoint for conflict. Naval standoffs and military escalations are becoming alarmingly frequent, inching us closer to a possible confrontation. Take, for instance, the standoff in 2012 between the Philippine Navy and the Chinese Navy. What could have spiraled into a full-blown conflict was a real possibility. Diplomatic discussions are ongoing, and the international community is stepping up its response to China's aggressive stance. The fight for the West Philippine Sea is far from over, and the world is watching intently, hoping for a peaceful resolution to this high-stakes situation. With conflicts raging in Europe and the Middle East, the last thing the world needs is another war in Asia. Everyone is holding their breath, wishing for diplomacy to prevail over confrontation. For years, China has made its displeasure known whenever its claims in the West Philippine Sea have been challenged. These protests have been loud and relentless, showcasing China's determination to assert its control over these waters. Yet every time their assertions have been rejected, the international community has stood firm, pointing to international law and the rights of other nations to dismiss China's claims. Each rejection hit China hard, serving as a reminder that their bullying tactics wouldn't hold up in court. The rulings were straightforward, leaving no space for China's aggressive actions. So, did China heed the court's decisions? Did they back down? Not at all. Instead, they doubled down on their defiance, refusing to accept the rulings and ramping up their protests. They didn't just protest louder, they showcased their might by constructing more artificial islands. Over the years, China has steadily militarized the South China Sea, employing various strategies to enhance its dominance. One of their primary tactics has been the construction of artificial islands, turning reefs and rocks, especially in the Spratly Islands, into strategic military outposts. These artificial islands are equipped with military airstrips capable of hosting fighter jets, significantly enhancing China's power projection in the region. Moreover, they feature port facilities that bolster China's naval capabilities and readiness. As tensions rise, the world watches closely, wondering how far China will go in its quest for control. In addition, China has set up military installations, including missile launchers and other military assets, on these artificial islands. The Chinese military has ramped up its patrols and presence in the South China Sea, making it clear that it intends to assert control over these disputed waters. This increased military presence includes deploying advanced missile systems, such as anti-ship and surface-to-air missiles on these islands. But China's approach isn't just about direct military action. They've also mobilized their Coast Guard and maritime militia to bolster their territorial claims. The China Coast Guard frequently patrols contested waters, often clashing with foreign vessels that venture into the area. Additionally, China organizes fishermen into a maritime militia to support its territorial claims, disrupting the activities of foreign fishermen and naval forces. On the diplomatic front, China employs legal strategies to strengthen its claims, asserting rights over nearly the entire South China Sea based on its controversial 9-dash line, while ignoring international rulings like the 2016 Permanent Court of Arbitration decision that dismissed its claims. China is also working on bilateral agreements with certain Southeast Asian countries to manage disputes, often attempting to isolate those nations that challenge its authority. Military exercises play a key role in this strategy, serving as both a show of strength and preparation for potential operations in the region. These drills frequently include live fire exercises that showcase cooperation among various military branches. To further expand its reach, China has been commissioning new warships and submarines while boosting its shipbuilding capabilities. This expansion is all about establishing a more sustained military presence in the South China Sea. And the world is watching to see how this unfolding drama will play out. The constant stream of rejections was starting to take a toll on China. They continue to dismiss the rulings as meaningless, insisting that the international legal system is biased and unworthy of their respect. China paints itself as a victim, claiming the world is uniting against it to undermine its status as a global power. Each new ruling against them chips away at China's credibility and authority. The world is watching, and China's reputation as a responsible global player is slipping away. The real question is, how long can China maintain this defiant attitude before the repercussions become too great? Then, something unexpected happened. The world held its breath as the latest ruling was announced. And this time, it was different. This wasn't just another dismissal. It was a landmark decision with far-reaching implications. The court systematically dismantled China's entire argument, scrutinizing each claim with precision. This ruling wasn't merely a setback for China. It was a significant blow that left them exposed. Legal experts were stunned by the thoroughness of the verdict. The decision was so decisive that China had no room to reinterpret or evade it. As expected, their protests were swiftly dismissed, and the court's clear legal reasoning left no room for doubt. The message rang out loud and clear. China's claims in the West Philippine Sea were baseless, and their defiance was futile. The international community rallied in support of the ruling. The reaction was a mix of shock and relief. Shocked that China seemed blindsided by the decision, and relieved that their blatant disregard for international law had finally encountered a formidable opponent. This ruling is seen as a monumental victory for justice and the rule of law. It not only bolstered the Philippines' position, but also set a precedent for other nations grappling with similar disputes. This defeat could prove to be a critical turning point for China. For China, losing face is a big deal. Their national identity hinges on strength and dominance. Admitting defeat on the global stage goes against everything they stand for. So, what's really happening behind closed doors in Beijing? What's on Xi Jinping's mind now? This setback is chipping away at the carefully crafted image China has built over decades, exposing their vulnerability and insecurity. The world is paying attention. The balance of power in the Asia-Pacific region hangs in the balance. China has poured so much effort into establishing itself as the dominant force. but this defeat complicates their ambitions. This situation boosts their rivals, countries like Vietnam, the US, and Japan. It strengthens alliances and disrupts the regional status quo. Suddenly, Vietnam, once viewed as a weak player, emerges as a beacon of resilience. Other nations, inspired by this victory, might find the courage to stand up to China. Take Vietnam, for example. The Chinese Coast Guard has bullied Vietnamese forces numerous times. After this ruling, Vietnam might finally find the confidence to push back against China. So, what's next? Will China accept this defeat and retreat from the West Philippine Sea, or will they respond with aggression? Their next move is crucial, not just for the region, but for the entire world. Will China continue its bullying tactics, or will it choose diplomacy? This moment signifies both victory and uncertainty in the West Philippine Sea. It's about more than just fish, oil, or territory. It's about respect, the rule of law, and the future of the entire region, perhaps even the globe. This ruling is a triumph for the Philippines and the international community, but the struggle is far from over. Eyes around the world are glued to see what actions the Chinese Navy and officials will take next. Thanks for tuning in. If you found this insight valuable, don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the Philippines.